So, what's going on, everybody? Today we're gonna watch Monster episode 28. Wish you could watch 28 and 29, but unfortunately I don't have more time for like a double episode or anything today. That being said, we are in the midst of a very, very gripping story arc, which is us getting to know more about how Johann generally operates, which is insane. And we do have that little side story that is obviously also connected to all of this, of the detective who was an alcohol addict and has kind of like separated from his kid, his family and whatnot, but is still trying to kind of get a new lease on life or whatever, and he's kind of trying to, like, he's on the tails of all of this business, like the Schubert, like the rich Schubert guy and whatever. But let's get into that. Let's just check this episode out. Episode 28 of Monster starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. A bam.
もういいってどういうことですか、シューバルトさん。君に依頼した調査はもう打ち切りという。
The investigation is over.
ちょっと待ってください。確かにカール・ノイマンの調査は終わりました。彼はあなたの息子だった。君には感謝しているよ。いや、待ってください。それで全てが解決したわけ。
Yeah, what happened to the other guy?
そう語ったエドムント・ファーレンの死因は自殺ではない可能性があるんです。ファーレンの背後で糸を引いていた人物も明らかになっていない。全ては解決したんだよ。
Everything has been. This guy's.
お茶が入りました。お父さん。
お、そうか。
あ、こんにちは。
Is he suspecting Carl?
私は結構です。ご苦労だった。請求書を回してくれたまえ。
いい天気ですね。ヨハンも来ていますよ。
そうか。ヨハンも来ているのか。
He's the son, but Johann is.
誰も寄せつけない。誰も信じない氷のような男が。息子が見つかったことで、ああもう高校へ。
It's not just because of his son. That's the insane thing.
あの映画をとてもバイエルンの吸血鬼と呼ばれた男とは思えない。そうか、ヨハンも来ているのか。
Alright, quiet music. Let's get this started. A puppy. Okay.
どうやら依頼人の離婚した元旦那が連れ去ったらしいんですよ。
子犬の親権争いってのも難しい問題だな。
I mean, there have been crazier things.
私はワインをいただくよ。
どうぞどうぞ。 私は水で十分です。
仕事が暇になったということだが、別に酒に関心が向いてる様子もないな。
ええ、その点は大丈夫です。
その点？他に何か気になることでもあるのかね？
いや、時間に余裕ができたもんで、
うん
つまらんことをやってしまうんです。
Like following a lead, you don't have to.
私的なスクラップブックを見ちまうんですよ。未解決だった事件のね。
なるほど。で、それを見るとどんな気分だい？
悔しいですよ。
Mm.
殺人事件、この殺人事件。犯人どもはまだこのシャバでのうのうと暮らしていると思うと、なんともやりきれないですよ。
It's hard, right?
まさにね。
能力はあった。
You like to control things around you.
あんたは必死になるあまり事件と自分を同一化しすぎた。犯人の心が読めないもどかしさがフラストレーションとなり、
酒に走った。
そうだ。
お待たせしました。
ああ、飯だ飯だ。
So work made him actually start alcohol, which not too unusual, honestly.
わしは別に悪いことだとは思わんよ。昔の事件のスクラップを眺めることさ。
またもどかしくなるだけですよ。
いや、もう大丈夫だ。今の視線でそれらを眺めることで何が思い浮かぶか話してほしい。あんたは酒によってあの連続殺人鬼の少年を撃ち殺した。今やその事実に正面から向き合う準備ができた。だがまだ引き金を引いたとき、何を考えたか思い出すことから逃げている。
Yeah, we need like he wants him to do some soul searching.
まだ見るんだろ、あの少年の亡霊を。
Yeah.
すべてを明らかに、すべてを白日のもとにさらすとき、その亡霊も消えるさ。
I guess he's going for psychoanalysis in this case. Right? Classic Freudian psychoanalysis. At least this is what it sounds like to me. Bring the subconscious into the conscious. We had the same moment, right, with Johan and Carl on the rooftop, where the hand was going out and he felt something. But for him, it's something different, I guess.
被害者ヨアヒム・ホルマーは着実にキャリアを積み、誰からも恨みを買うような人間ではなかった。それがめった刺し、物取りの形跡もない。神の声殺人事件。被害者は元家政婦と運転手。
Excel's keeping a driver.
現場にも壁に神の声を聞いたというメッセージが殴り書きされていた。
Ooh, that is very Johan, right?
ドルナッハ社社長殺人事件。バイエルン州でも有数の資産家ルート・ガウク氏がハルトホルツの森で死体で発見された。
Maybe that investigator was on his tail.
イザール川上流で中年夫婦の水死体が上がる。一連の中年夫婦連続殺人事件の線で捜査。重要参考人の日本人医師は未だ逃走中。やれやれだな。未解決事件の数だけ酒の量も増えていった。
I mean, you can't keep up with that, right? All you can do is do your best.
なるほど。先生の言う通りだ。酒を飲まずに考えるとはこういうことか。ちょっと待て。
Ooh, a connecting threat?
よく考え。
He's seeing ghosts again, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. A vivid flashback. We talked about this PTSD. Interesting that you have PTSD from shooting someone, actually, but I guess.
その時何を思いついたんだ？
いや、それなんですよ。 何か思い浮かんだんですが。
少年の亡霊が見えて、そのひらめきがすっ飛んじまったか。
He's so close.
そのうちまたそのひらめきが訪れる時がある。
He's right. It's same patterns of thinking you're gonna get back to it because you thought it once, so it's not gone.
あの未解決事件のどれかを解く何か重要な鍵だったような。
Only one? Does he feel like he's being followed? It kind of feels that way. Right. Maybe Johan already is on the case. Or maybe it's just his paranoia.
誰だ？俺をつけ回してるのは誰だ
？Ooh. Look at the tilted angles.
あの時も俺はこうしてロジを奴を追って。
Okay, he saw him again, I guess. But he's gone.
こんな夜中にすみません、先生。
いや、君が全てを語る気になったんだ。聞かせてもらうよ。
ある時、私は少年の中に見たんです。この世に存在することを知ったんです。本当の悪が。だから私はあの少年を撃ち殺したんです。
よし、よく話してくれた。あんたはこれで
So interesting.
まだあるんです。わかったんです。この前ふと頭に浮かんだこと。私の抱えていたあのいくつもの未解決事件は実は一つの事件だったんです。
Yeah, one of them involving Johan, right?
ドクター・ギーレン。先日君が送ってくれた君の著書、超越犯罪心理学概論。興味深く読ませてもらった。デュッセルドルフ大学で私が教鞭をとっていた頃の教え子がこうして活躍していること、非常に喜びを感じている。
Ooh, interesting.
ドクター・ギーレン。以前君が話してくれた連続殺人犯ペーター・ユルゲンスの面接の際、
Rudy.
あの時ユルゲンスはある友人に命令されて殺人を犯したと君に語ったそうだが、私の記憶が定かでないためもう一度教えてはくれないだろうか。ユルゲンスの語ったその友人の名前を。
Obviously, he would be using a different name. So we don't know if we can actually connect the dots, but...
追伸。君は大学時代非常に優秀な学生であったが、君と同期でまさしく首席を競い合うほど優秀な学生がいた。脳外科医としての道を進んだが、今や連続殺人事件の重要参考人。彼のことで少しでも君の知っていることを教えてほしい。彼は一体どんな人間で、果たして今どこにいるのか。ドクター・天馬という男。
He looks so young here, Dr. Tenma.
あの時の刑事さん。
いや、今は細々とした探偵業でして。辛いお話で申し訳ありませんが、あなたのお母さんが被害に遭われた神の声殺人事件についてもう一度伺ってもよろしいですか？
もちろんです。もう4年も経って警察も捜査に力を入れてくれませんし。
Cold cases are a big thing.
確かお母さん、以前にあの大富豪の家政婦をなさっていらしたとか。
ええ、でももう20年も前のことです。
辞められたのは何か理由があって？
当時体を壊しまして、それ以来母は近所でだけ仕事をしていました。
Alright, interesting.
うまくいかなかったなんてことは。
She has a connection to Schubert.
それどころか母は詩を読むのが好きで、シューバルトさんがまだ目が見えていた頃、よく2人で朗読し合ったって。
Ooh, interesting.
そうだ、こちらにいらして。ほ らご覧になって。母の思い出なのでずっと取ってあるんです。この本棚
All of these poetry
シュ
books.
ーバルトさんが母にプレゼントしてくださったも
Wow.
のです。
Okay. Now him sharing his love for literature.
今じゃ探偵とはね。社長の元秘書であるあなたにもう一度伺いたいんです。社長を恨んでいた人物について。
社長の敵？そんなもの数え上げたらキリがないと言ったでしょう。
If you're rich, most
社長
probably.
に倒産させられた企業のリストは警察がとっくに分析しているはずですよ。
バイエルン州の有力な資産家といえばもう一人いますね。彼との関係は？
シューバルト氏ですか。そりゃもうライバルでしたよ。生
Alright.
涯かけたね。あなたご存知かね。シューバルトは過去に2度倒産を経験していますがね。
We heard
2
about
度
that.
目の倒産はガウク社長との熾烈な企業競争の結果なんですよ。
いわ
Ooh.
ばシューバルト氏は社長によって潰された。
逆に社長がシューバルトにやられたこともある。
二人は憎み合っていた。
もちろん。たまにパーティー会場で顔を合わせたりしようものなら大変だ。互いに感情むき出しの言い合いでね。
あの二人が。
そう。
Two egos.
二人がね。彼らは唯一対等に言い合える仲だった。あれはライバルというより、実は友人だったんですよ。
Hmm. One does not exclude the other, right? But that's very interesting that we're following our detective here. Is something gonna fall on him? Ooh. Holy shit.
気をつけろ!
And nobody's gonna show up.
よく知ってたよ。
Interesting.
殺人事件とかで殺された二人のうちの一人だ。いいやつだったのにかわいそうによ。
ハンスさんはそんなにいい人だったんですか？
ああ、よく酒をおごってくれたもんさ。
He's a good person. He buys me drinks. Nice.
彼は以前シューバルトのところで運転手をしていましたよね。
らしいな。でももう30年も前の話だぜ。
All of these people had histories in the past with Schubert.
シューバルトがその頃破産したからだよ。
あ、なるほど。別に何かトラブルがあったわけじゃ。
いいか、ハンスの名誉のために言っとくがな。やつはあのクソったれの大金持ちだろうが、俺たちみてえな貧乏人だろうが、わけ隔てなく付き合える気持ちのいい男だったんだ。
Hmm.
やつはよく言ってたよ。あの金持ちにバードウォッチングを教えたな、自分だって。
バードウォッチング。
ああ、
Alright.
お家に連れて行くと吸血鬼どころか子供みたいに喜んでたとよ。
The forest. Maybe that forest, right? With the lake.
いまだに夫のことが思い出されて。夫は真面目一本な人で、誰からも恨まれるようなことはありませんでした。それがあんな殺され方を。
お察しします。失礼ですが、確かご主人は。
はい。幼い頃、施設で過ごして、里親のもとを転々として、苦労。
Orphanage, you say?
ご主人はシューバルト氏から顧問会計士の依頼を受けていましたね。
Personal accountant as well.
でもお断りしていました。今の仕事で手一杯だったこともありましたけど、あの人とはお金に対する哲学が違うって。
Alright.
夫はお金に潔癖な人でしたから。
ご協力ありがとうございました。
犯人は捕まるでしょうか？
努力します。絶対に捕まりますよ。
Don't make promises you can't keep, man.
ご主人と彼が知り合うきっかけは何だったのかご存知ですか？
ああ、森で会ったって。
森で？
まだシューバルトさんの目が見える頃ですわ。森でばったりと。
なんでそんなところに？
バードウォッチングです。それから何度も
Interesting.
させていただいて。
So interesting, right? What you have these connective things, right? These threads. Bird watching.
子供みたいに喜ぶ。二人で朗読し合った友人。
Is he just too focused?
大丈夫かい？ああ、大丈夫です。どうも。
He's just too much in his own head right now.
っていうより、まるであんたを狙ってたみたいだぜ、ありゃ。
Don't get paranoid now. I mean, you might be followed.
ライヒワイン先生、すべて裏を取りました。先日、私がお話しした通りでした。私が刑事時代抱えていたいくつもの事件は、すべて同じ方向を向いていました。神の声殺人事件、ドルナッハ社社長殺人事件、会計士殺人事件。一見何の結びつきもないこれらの事件、犯行の手口もバラバラ、被害者同士に関係もなく、しかも金銭上のつながりが全くないため記録として一切残らなかった事実、これらはある一点でつながっていた。全部の事件の被害者の死はすべてシューバルトを孤独にするためのものだったんです。
To isolate him. This is a long, long con.
ドルナッハ社社長殺人事件で犯行の直前、ガウフ社長は重要な商談があると言って出かけていった。その商談の相手の名前、そして神の声殺人事件の犯人が壁に書いた神の名前、そして私の抱えていた事件の中で唯一無関係に見える中年夫婦連続殺人事件、その重要参考人の日本人医師が取り調べの際語った犯人の名前、それら全ては共通の。
ヨハン。
ヨハ
ン。
私の元教え子の犯罪心理学者がある友人の命令で犯行を犯した殺人犯の研究をしていた。
Interesting that he uses his normal name for all of these.
その友人の名もヨハン。ありふれた名だ。それぞれの事件のつながりも想像の域を出ない。
It could be.
ただ、もしこれが事実だとすると、4年もかかって計画的に連続殺人を行うヨハンと名乗る何者かがシューバルトを完全な孤独に追い込んだということになる。
Right, no friends anymore.
また都合よくシューバルトの息子を産んだマルゴット・ランガーは死に、
シューバルトの息子を語ったファーレンという学生も実の息子の出現で都合よく自殺した。もし実在するとして今どこにいるんだ、そのヨハンは。
The detective already has the information, right?
そうか、ヨハンも来ているのか。
There's someone connected.
元気だな。
You even saw him.
シューバルトのすぐ近くに。
Yeah, of course we're gonna end it here. And the light, right? Apologies. Insane. The game he plays. But I bet people have realized that in the past, and they died for it. Or lost everything otherwise, right? Maybe being framed for something. Right, next episode. We're with a detective again. Rudy, but Rudy is actually in it on it now. And who is that? Is that Tenma at the grave or is that the detective? Ooh, I wonder. Execution. That sounds ominous. Like really ominous. Alright, let's talk about it, right? I mean, not that much to talk about, right? We basically have it all together right here. Our detective is connecting the dots. One thing that I don't like about this series, rare criticism. It's not even criticism necessarily, because I feel like it makes sense why it happens that way. But one thing I do really not like is that oftentimes we have something like a person has personal issues or so whatever, right? Going through life and whatnot. And the one thing that actually was the main trigger for them having these personal issues, these big issues, psychological issues, mental stress, whatever, right? Or a falling out or something that ruined their life, that the one cause is actually things, often cases or whatever, connected to Johann. Which I'm like, this is actually a little bit convenient, isn't it? I mean, obviously, it serves as a good motivation for our characters to actually investigate in that matter, because it's something they have to solve for themselves as well, right? Because they need to kind of put an end to it and find a conclusion that they are satisfied with, right? Kind of work it through and process everything. But at the same time, it feels like a little bit too convenient that especially exactly that thing that caused my trauma, exactly that thing that caused me to actually go into alcoholism and actually ruin my life, exactly that thing that actually ruined my life and blamed me, or kind of got me framed for something, or actually exactly that thing that I'm working on right now is conveniently connected to Johann, and I'm now processing it enough to actually realize all of these cases are connected to it. The second point of that I'm not quite, like, I mean, I have to suspend my disbelief for is that every one of these cases is connected to Johann. I would be alright if, like, he said, like, there's like 4 cases out of like these couple dozen cases where I was like really desperate about like them not being solvable and I'm not being in control of that. When he was like, there's like 4 of those that I realized that are interconnected and have like a really sinister thing behind them. Would believe that as well. I would be like, yeah, makes sense to me. I feel like it's a little bit too on the nose if it's really every case that he was like agonizing about. Because that's just not how life works. There's not like an easy solution where it's like, oh yeah, all of these things can be kind of, right, drawn back to that one thing that happened and this is the cause of all evil. It's oftentimes that's just not how it works. That's just not how stuff works, okay? You still need to get over your issues. You still need to get over the fact that you don't have complete control over your life, and a lot of humans struggle with that. A lot of people do struggle with that there's things in their life that they can't control that are really important, that might even determine things about them in their life, but they can't control them and they need to accept that, and you need to live and like learn to live with that. And this is kind of going completely against that. But again, I said it's not really criticism because I do feel, first of all, it serves the plot, it serves the narrative. Second of all, we're building Johann up as this giant monstrosity that's behind all of the evil in the world, right? At least it feels that way, right? It feels that way that Johann has his hands in every cookie jar of evil in all of Germany during that time, basically. Which, again, I need to suspend my disbelief for that. I understand that we want to build up the scope, we want to build up his monstrosity, his genius, his unrivaled just brilliance and manipulativeness and whatnot. Still leave some tiny couple of % room for other things of evil to happen, of other crimes to happen that are not connected to him, other things, machinations, and people playing games that are not connected directly to him. Please, because otherwise it feels like just too tagged on, right? Maybe I'm the only one who feels like that, but all of these things are connected to him. All of them, right? Most of them. Not all of them, mind you, but right? Like it's the same as if like oh, suddenly like that one son of like the British couple that we had a couple of episodes ago, he was also connected to Johann and killed because of Johann, right? No, please. Leave some room for it. Leave some room for it. That being said, obviously, we're building up the monster. And once again, we're re-empathizing. In the beginning of the episode, we had that, like this, where he was like, there was this moment when I shot this serial killer that I recognized there was pure evil. It exists in the world, and this is why I shot him. And I gotta say, kind of difficult for me to connect to that as somebody who doesn't believe in pure evil, right? Somebody who doesn't believe in the fact that I don't believe that fundamentally there is somebody who just gets born and wants to see the world burn. I think there's like a couple dozen up to 2,000 of steps between getting born and having the right genetic cocktail to actually be very prone to develop these things and to actually become that person, right? I don't believe in pure evil. I don't even think Johann is pure evil. I mean, I guess as close to the conceptualization of evil as you can get for people. I get that, right? I understand that. Johann is maybe as close as you can get to a conceptualization of evil because he is very manipulative. He uses people in very insidious ways, very thought out. He's playing long cons. He is intelligent beyond most of our comprehension, right? I do understand that this is, in a way, maybe exactly what we would consider pure evil to be. I get that. Yeah, the doctor actually drinking in front of his patient, I'm like, I mean, on the one hand, yeah, maybe he's testing him. He's like, I want to make sure you're comfortable, right? Because this is a situation that you're gonna be exposed to in real life as well. But otherwise, I don't know if that's like a little bit inconsiderate, maybe. But he's showing his like resolve here. Very proud of that fact. It's insane how we can actually build up this feeling for him. Like how we show all of these gray environments that are kind of dark and dreary and kind of creepy in many cases. And he's spending his time like in the night, very active, while just a couple of lights are around. And he's getting like his head into these creepy cases that kind of unnerve him because of something. Voice of God murders and whatnot. It's very interesting. I said immediately when you see that, it's like, yeah, this is Johann's MO for some of the stuff that he's been doing. Always funny how Tenma always gets mentioned whenever a couple of the cases of like Johann comes up, but yeah. Interesting that he permanently has Tenma framed for that. And people are not suspicious of him in that regard, in any way, shape, or form, don't have a clue. And all of the other things, all of the other crimes he's doing, obviously he has to frame on somebody else, or at least keep it under wraps so people don't recognize that a crime even happened. But I don't think Tenma was just a convenience for Johann. It was more like, yeah, it just happened and he got framed, and then like it's to his benefit, so he doesn't correct it, Johann, because I'm pretty sure if he wanted to, with his influence, he could correct it. But it makes things easier for Johann because Tenma can't just go to the police and tell everything. He can't just work with the authorities or whatever because they suspect him to be the killer, even though there's no hard evidence that he is. But you know how it is. Well, yeah. Of connecting evidence at the very least, right? No hard evidence, but at the very least you do have like incidents being connected and a lot of stuff, and people will be like, yeah, this is suspicious, you're probably the guy. Especially in these times. He keeps using his psychologist/therapist to actually give him intel on like his crime cases. Like, holy shit, dude. I mean, as much as like, yeah, use all the resources you can get, but dude, don't drag him into this. I mean, he's in this right now, but anyway. And again, these creepy alleyways, everything is dark and you're like under lamplight and you're looking back and you see nothing. There's pitch black darkness. You don't know what's there. You just hear sounds and it's creepy. It's creeping in and all of that. I do remember like yeah, exactly. And the shaking camera and he's going afterwards and then he's seeing his trauma again, right? The one connective tissue. But he's confronting it, right? And so he's slowly but steadily kind of realizing things about this. Still, that idea about pure evil. Like, this has been going through this entire series where we build up this idea that there's something that can be pure evil incarnate. Which, I mean, I guess at this point in time I have to assume this is the author's stance, right? This is the author's idea. That this is actually a thing, that evil exists. And the conceptualization of evil in this specific case is for him, Johann. He's characterizing evil as Johann. This is what evil looks like to me, and I do think it exists in the world. Or maybe he just wants to build it up in order to make it happen, right? In order to build a good story for us. All of these connective tissues, and the ball is rolling, right? We have more and more people involved and suspicious and knowing about things that Johann did, at the very least indirectly, because if they directly knew, Johann probably would know that they know and then try to get rid of them or take care of them. But more and more people are connected to this, and one of the issues about this is Tenma, right? Like, this is one of the connective tissues here. Tenma and Nina also. They're kind of touching base with a lot of people. They're leaving evidence behind indirectly, and that evidence that they leave behind is leading through other means to people and cases where that are connected to Johann. I guess in this way, Johann, by spinning his nice little spider web across the entire country, but leaving out two crucial components, Tenma and Nina, he's gonna eventually spin himself a rope out of that net. And he should be very careful not to get caught up in it, right? Trip and fall into it. Because then it's over, right? If the news tightens. This is his weakness. Nina and Tenma are his weakness. And I don't know why he's doing it in Tenma. Obviously, there is the obvious reason that he saved his life and he feels grateful to him. That can be a very genuine emotion. I guess the secondary aspect can just also be this sense, right? This thing that we know a lot with serial killers, that we kind of just like, that they like to bounce back and forth with other people. People who have been witness to their crimes, who know about them, right? And to taunt them with it, have a personal, close, emotional relationship with them. That could be the case. And that could be what brings him to ruin eventually, that he leaves Tenma alone. Because Tenma is actually somebody who can skip some stones, and those stones might become, I don't know, an avalanche or right? At some point in time. At some point in time. It's going to be the long game, but does Johann calculate that in, right? Does Johann have that on his radar? That is the question. Or is this his blind spot? Or are these his blind spots? But there's more and more people who are connecting with Tenma. And I do assume that also, well, to a degree, because in Nina's case, like the last case we had, he died. But there's also more people connecting to Nina and maybe to both of them. And they're just, the network is starting to widen. I do wonder if Lunge will become part of that network eventually. Eva is already 1 foot in, so... especially with like knowing Roberto and whatnot. I do assume that people like Roberto might have the best for Johann in mind, and this is why they want to kill Tenma, Nina, and whatever. If they're smarter than Tenma, if they're smarter than Johann, that is the question, right? Are they like smarter than Johann actually, or like in that specific, regarding that specific topic, are they smarter than Johann? Or is Johann actually smarter and is like, I got this all under control, don't you worry about it, and in reality he doesn't, but he's still thinking like more intelligently about it than those people like Roberto and whatnot who go around like trying to kill Tenma and Nina and Eva and whatnot. Yeah, like this is insane. Something's falling down and he's like, hey, be careful, but no response. This is spooky as fuck. It's like, normally like if there's construction workers or whatever, they're like, holy shit, oh great, I didn't hit you, right? Are you alright, sir? Whatever. Nobody there. It's like a ghost, right? Or a hitman, actually. And the same like with the almost being driven over. And this is like the border where at which point am I paranoid and at which point is it actually something that's happening, right? Am I just that old detective that's gnawing and biting himself into these old cases because he can't let them go and is slowly getting paranoid about everything and just losing himself in delusion? Or am I actually onto something and people are actually after me because I am? I hope the old guy doesn't die like the therapist. He seems like a nice dude. But yeah, we have the name. Why does he always use Johann as the name? That's the question, right? Why disconnecting identity? He could be changing identities. It could be easy. The way he uses words, the way he interacts with people and gets them to open up, could be using other names. But always Johann. Johann always pops up. It's always his name. I mean, not always, right? Tenma asked the dude who was killing like the Springer guys, right? And this dude like said his name wasn't Johann. He used I don't know what it was, Erich or something like that, right? So sometimes he uses an alias, but oftentimes he uses Johann. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Kind of like that's weak sauce. Yeah, but otherwise he's very impenetrable. But he has seen him now. The question is, how much does Johann know that he has seen him? I mean, I judge that when like if those were actually assassination attempts at him, then he knows. He fucking knows. You better fucking watch out, dude. And I better fucking hope that Tenma is close by and he's just coming for the rescue if that happens. Because that is one more person that could be helping us, right? That could be aware of all of these things happening. But yeah, that was Monster episode 28. Exciting episode. I love this arc. This arc is really great, to be honest. Like the way it started up slow, but it's really getting there. We're into the next escalation of everything, and I'm absolutely loving it. If you enjoyed these reactions, give me a like. It helps a lot. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure that no matter if you're on Patreon watching the pips or if you're over here, that you leave the video running for all of the length. I do hope you can do that because it really boosts the algorithm. And other than that, I do hope I see you next time when I react to Monster or Monogatari or Technolize or whatever else is going on right now. See you soon.